unqualified morons playing tabletop. This is the Gateway Gamers podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Gateways Gamers podcast. My name is Bryan Marvel, as always, joined by my co-host, Private RP Walsh. How are you, sir?
A 10 Hut, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Sir, yes, sir.
Just congratulations to the winners of the Super Bowl, the insert team here. Nick, fix that later.
Yeah. I think it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles.
I think it's going to be the Birds.
Yeah, not an Eagles fan. As you guys know, we are a Philadelphia area podcast, but I am not an Eagles fan. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, Philadelphia. Everything else, I bleed. It's just one of those weird things that I love being a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I love the relationship I have with my father with it. But it's just one of those things, man. The atmosphere in this city has been unbelievable kind of all season. And this city is a football town first. So there's an element of it where I'm like, dang, like I wish there's part of me that like I wouldn't trade my being a Steelers fan and like those memories for anything, but then it would be something cool to actually share in this Eagles second Super Bowl run in 5 years. So the town's buzzing, everybody's happy, which is always good. It makes for a good city. Crime is down.
Yep.
Oh, in relation when the sports teams do well. So it's good, and I'm taking the Birds and a day off of work because I work in the city, and you can't get to the city.
Yeah, if they win or lose, it's good.
Yeah, well, if they win, they lose. I'm gonna.
I mean, they already won. They won, so.
Oh yes, yeah. So we're at that multiple reasons why I'm rooting for the Birds, and all of my friends that are listeners and all of our listeners that are Eagles fans. We are rooting for you guys, and if you're a Chiefs fan, I'm sorry. But if the Chiefs win, great.
Congrats to Chiefs.
This is a board game podcast.
Yeah, this is not a football podcast, which is why I gave no input whatsoever because I am not a sports or football person. But I grew up in Philadelphia, so go Birds.
At least you own it. There's plenty of people that haven't been football fans their entire life, and then anytime a team gets good, they pretend to be fans and they love the team. I hate people like that.
No, I'm obviously they're in the Super Bowl, and I'm like, it's cool. All right, like it's nice to see. Like you just want your team to win, but yeah, I'm not like all season I wasn't watching every game, but I always watch the Super Bowl even if thare not in it. So it's not like I'm too much of a bandwagon.
It's the big game. There's a lot of things to look forward to. A lot of good trailers. What are we getting? The Guardians Fast 10 trailer, I think, is actually dropping on Friday. We're getting Guardians 3. We're getting another Ant-Man look. We're getting a look at The Flash, which, according to James Gunn's, one of the greatest comic book movies ever made. There's a bunch. There's actually a lot this year. That it makes me looking forward to it, and possibly the Marvels, which I'm actually really excited hearing good things from insiders on that, and hearing good things about the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp that's coming out this weekend or next weekend or this weekend.
This weekend when it drops, yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to it, and I hope it was a good.
Yeah, and we are a board game podcast, so welcome. This is a podcast where I introduce RP to the world of board gaming, one board game at a time, as I try to purge my collection by buying 8 more games for every one game that I actually get rid of, which has been the trend.
At least you're getting rid of some.
Yeah, I have. I've recently got rid of a bunch that just, for no reason in particular, they just weren't fitting, or I got games that kind of replaced them. I don't want to be one of those people that have just a giant collection that doesn't get played. Like, I have nothing against people that do that. I'm a collector of other things. I get it, but I have a closet that's dedicated to my games, and once stuff stops fitting or it's just been sitting too long, I'm like, I think it's time to go.
Yeah, I mean, we have a couple games on my shelf that still need to get played. Onward game and the Lord of the Rings game.
Yeah, I know. We'll get there. Definitely the Lord of the Rings game I want to play.
No. Onward.
We'll get there.
There's a fun story behind that if we ever cover it, we'll
get there. But today we are covering Air, Land, and Sea, Critters at War. which is a 2-player game. If you're a follower of us and listened last February, it's part of our 2-player board game in February. So we'll be covering exclusive 2-player games in February. I'll just give you some background on this one. It's called Air, Land, and Sea, Critters at War. It's a reskin of another game that was just called Air, Land, and Sea. Critters at War is just a kind of rehashing with animals and just brighter colors, more cartoony. Plays for 2 players, 15 to 30 minutes, designed by John Perry. The artist is Derek Loffman. I just want to give him a shout out because the art is fantastic for this game. The type of game is area majority and hand management, and it came out in 2021. I think it had MSRPs for $18 to $20. It's a relatively cheap game that it's just, I think, just 18 cards. It's just an 18 card game.
Yeah, it shouldn't be more than that.
Yeah. So we played this a couple weeks ago. And what was your thoughts on this game? I mean,
so
what did it seem very similar to? I'll say that.
That's what I was going to start off with. So popular in our friends group. It's actually kind of taken a backseat for me as things have gotten busier. But Marvel Snap.
Yep.
It reminded me a lot of the kind of format of Marvel Snap, where you have 3 locations and you play cards to them, and your deck isn't big. And it was kind of that mindset, as Brian told me about the game, that made me interested in it. And it has a similar play style to it. It's a little different. There's a little bit more to it, but kind of the same thing. The cards have effects. They can make things happen to other cards, make things destroy other cards. So I really liked it, and I like the theming to it as well.
Yeah, it was funny because when I got it, I was like, oh, this looks very familiar. And if you've been listening to us for a while, you know we love Marvel Snap, which is a app-driven like Marvel card game that RP said is very similar to this, where it's 3 locations. The 3 locations are the 3 theaters of war: air, land, and sea. And then, as he said, you kind of play cards, and whoever owns 2 of the or a majority of the locations gets more points than the other player, and you play till 12 victory points. And I thought that was neat. Like, I was like, oh, okay. Like, it's a relatively quick card game. The components are great. I think the artwork, as I said, as I want to give credit to, really pops. Like, I looked at the card and artwork for the original version, and it was just more realistic planes, more realistic tanks, like more realistic. And it seemed like the exact same game style. They didn't tweak anything else, but they added to this version just like animals and like tanks and animals and planes and all, like just I think it's like pigs and
turtles, right?
Turtles, and there's like a beaver and a dog. Like it's neat. Like it's really it pops more, I feel like.
And, it's very cool. It's very cool. If this was just normal planes and soldiers, it wouldn't have been a thought in my mind. Like,
yeah,
oh, okay, let's just, all right, not memorable at all.
Yeah, like the game style is the same, but it is like just funny to see a pig with a rocket launcher. Like it's just, and there is like subtle humor they kind of add it where it is just like, oh, okay, that's fun.
Yeah, it's if you're a fan of cartoons, it's like half of the reason why cartoons are like fun, because they have, animals doing things that humans do and vice versa. And it's always just cooler. Like not like groundbreaking, earth shattering, like this is the coolest thing I've ever seen, but it's always just very fun and cool.
It just adds a little something. There was a cartoon in the 90s, I think it was called Barnyard Commandos, that was very similar to this. It was like sheeps and pigs that just lived on a farm, but they battled. And I remember the toys. I don't remember the cartoon, but I remember the toys. And that's kind of what this reminds me of.
Yeah, I know. I've never heard of that.
Yeah. So I think another thing I like about the components was with the 3 theaters of the air, land, and sea, they were colored like green, blue,
and white.
And the cards that you have can only be played on a certain location. So you can't play a tank in the ocean. So the color coordination really helped out too, where it's in my hand. I have a yellow card, or not yellow, white card, a blue card, and then 3 green cards. So you can only play those color cards at the color location, unless I think there are some cards that kind of mitigate and give you different options. But I
Yeah,
thought
like
that was
you can play a card like face down and
well, that's something different. But I thought that was neat. Like it's a good idea to just kind of color coordinate. It just makes it a little bit easier when it's in your hand to be like, okay, like
absolutely.
I could play this here, I could play that there. As RP was kind of saying, if you have a card that doesn't work or you don't want to play, because some of them have like weird powers, will be like flip your cards over, which will either mess you up or give him an advantage. You could play one of your cards face down, and it's automatically 2 points, and you could play it at any of the locations. So it's good. You have that little bit of like just kind of options to kind of do. And then we haven't really talked. Each card is numbered.
Yeah,
I think 2 through 6.
Yeah.
Like so 2s will have like a certain power that just kind of mitigate other things, and a 6 is like a super tank, and that's it. It doesn't have any powers. It's just like the strongest card in the game.
You can play them at any time, right?
Yeah, you can play them at any time as long as they're in your hand.
That was the difference between that and Marvel Snap. Was Marvel Snap you have to wait.
Oh, you only have a certain amount of energy. Yeah, that's right.
With this one, you can play wherever, so you can be strategic. But then there's the other cards that can counteract that, where they can flip your cards.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a strategy to when you play your cards.
Yeah, you don't want to play like a 6 card right away, because then RP could play a card that will flip my card and it'll be worth 2, or I forget some of the other powers. Like there's
like the one basic. I had that was like, if you can play this card and it gives plus 2 or plus 4 to all your flipped cards. So that allowed me to kind of plan that and like, okay, well, this card's, worth 1 or 2. And if I flip it, it gets an additional plus 2 or things of that.
Yeah.
And then you would play a card that would flip my flipped. So then I would lose out on that. So
yeah,
you won both times. No shock to anybody who listens. Typically you win.
Not by any, I don't know, not happenstance, especially this game. This game is a good mixture of like luck.
There's some strategy.
Strategy. I think it's a good mix. Another thing I like is just easy setup. I think that's why we played a couple times. The setup is just the 3 oversized cards in the middle of the table. You randomly deal 6 cards to each player out of the 18, and that's your cards for that game. And I like that because you're not playing with all 18 cards. You're only playing with 12. Yeah. So that adds a lot of replayability because you're not always playing with the same deck. Like it just kind of really mixes it up. Every time you play, you're not going to have the same like hand.
Yeah, for sure. And I wanted to highlight on what you said about quick setup. A lot of times when we play games, if a game takes a while to set up, it automatically goes down, in like my opinion of a game. And it happens a lot in the game, but we're going to talk about it a little bit later, where you get it all out. You're like, oh, I don't want to play this, or it's going to be an hour and a half because 20 minutes of it setting up, or 10 or 15.
Yeah.
So the ability to just whip out a card game, set it up in literally 3 minutes, and then be able to play is very intriguing to me, and makes me want to play it again, or even add it to my collection because it's something quick that I could teach Audra as well. Former producer Audra. So I think that's a huge thing to highlight.
Yeah. I think that's what's great about these quick 2-player games is I think most of the games we've kind of played that have been 2-player, that's it. Like they're just quick little, either not like skirmish games, but just like quick card games. They're compact. They can be played anywhere. Like this would be a great game to play at like a bar.
Yeah.
And just kind of like while you're waiting for food, just set up real quick because you can,
like a brewery.
Yeah. A brewery's perfect. So that's like definitely an easy setup. Compact, easy to transport. Like there are 2 highlights already. Interaction I think is really good for this game. It's not a game where we're just kind of playing ourselves. Like I have to think about what you're doing. I have to read your cards. I have to plan against you, and then you can interact with my cards. And it's not a game where we're just facing each other and not really interacting. Like your cards really affect my side of the board, and my cards affect yours. And I like that. I like that interaction like element to it. I thought it was pretty neat as compared to like something like what's our game we played last year? The Coyote game.
One that I really like.
Yeah.
The Spirits of the
Wild, I think it's called.
Wild, I think.
Yeah, like that game was good, but there
Like,
was
you're not
minimal interaction.
Yeah, you're really that was an easy game to play. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree that I like that element of it. It really adds a thought process to it, and also, not a cooperative, but a just like a not attacking either, but like I don't know the word. I'm blanking on the word, but
Okay.
it adds another level to the game of where you got to think, how can I take you out? And you got to
you have
think
to play
about
your side as well as play your side. Yep, my side as well as your side.
Yeah, and think about the possible alternatives with every card you put down. If you're putting one down, do you have one that can flip them? And if I can flip yours, and things like that, or vice versa. And it allows you to think. It's not a mindless game. It's not rocket science, but it's not a mindless game either. So it hits a nice balance.
Yeah. And with that, like the complexity of it, like we're kind of making it like it's a lot, but it's really not. The complexity is extremely low for this game. It's easy to teach. The instruction manual is super small. And then each card will just say like flip another character's card over, or cards you get plus, like RP said, +2 for each card that's flipped over. Like, it's not a novel on each card. It's just basic. Like, this is what it does. Do what you want with it. And I thought that was really good too. Like, it's just nice, quick, easy setup, easy to learn, easy to teach. This little card game. That's not hard.
Not at all. No.
Yeah, and then like I said, it's a lot of strategy, a lot of luck. I think it's a good balance. I don't mind luck games, but there's people that don't like overly heavy luck games. And I think this one has like a nice balance of strategy and luck.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. And then that's it. I think overall, in my opinion, I think it's just a fun, quick 2-player strategy game. I think the pros are it's quick to set up, quick to break down, quick to teach. It travels well. Oh, we didn't talk about one of the coolest elements of this game, the retreat aspect of it. Yeah, so I don't know how I skipped that. So when you're playing against somebody, if you just know your hand is not cutting it, or RP has like all the 6 cards out and I have nothing in my hand that could deter it, you can retreat. And how quickly you retreat or how late in the game you retreat is how many points the opponent gets. So if I choose to retreat and I've played like 3 cards, RP will get 3 points. If I retreat like earlier in the game, he'll get like 1 point. Like, it really affects how early you jump out in the game. And I think that's important for late game. If you're just like, I don't know what he's putting down, like, I don't know if I could handle it, and you could just be like, you know what, I'm out. Like, you could just kind of fold and let him get some points.
What you did to me. We played 3 games, and you did that on the second game, and then you won the third game.
Yeah, at one point I was just like, I don't have it. I'm out. You're like, you're retreating? Oh, yep. Nope. Call my losses, cutting them now. And I think that's a really cool element.
It was like the second turn too.
Yeah, I knew it. I was like, nah, this ain't working. I think that's a really cool element. I think flipping the cards upside down, that they're automatically 2. I thought it was like a neat component, and I liked the retreat aspect. I thought was
because you could get all one location or whatever, and just it gives you an opportunity, not just like, all right, I have a handful of nothing, I could turn this card over. And I really like that of the game. I
think that's what I had a lot of like green, so it's like I could have won the green section but struggled to get the other 2, where I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna bounce now and let you win the battle, but I'm gonna win the war, which is what happened.
And that's what happened.
So that's it. So overall thoughts, I gave mine. What do you think, RP? Like, would you recommend this? Would you put this in your collection?
This gets the Gateway Gamer stamp of approval. Emphasis on Gateway. This is a great game for somebody you're trying to introduce the game to, somebody who doesn't like a lot of, I don't want to say a lot of thought, but someone who doesn't like a lot of wordy games.
Yes.
A lot of reading. It's just something that fun, break it out. You got, half hour to kill before you got to go somewhere. Perfect for that. And so for that reason, I think there's games great for every type of situation. And this is one of those situations that's like, you're not a gamer. You want to introduce people to your world of gaming. Here's a gateway one. Here's this and that. And then you can direct them towards Marvel Snap if they like that. And
very true.
Everything. But for sure, approved. Great price point. Great components. Fun gameplay.
Yeah. I do want to talk about another game that we were all kind of on the fence about talk about just because we didn't want to load up with two games, but we covered that game kind of quick. And this is a game we're not going to be able to do a whole episode on. Cluster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a very, very fun game.
So Cluster was just a happenstance buy that has become the biggest hit with my gaming group, my classroom, my family, and everyone I've introduced to. All non-gamers, gamers alike. For some reason, this game just really hits.
It's fun, man. There's
Yep.
magnets, there's a string. That's it. It's
Yeah.
And there's a lot of creative ways that you can win. And this is a hit. This is for sure I wouldn't even call it like
it's not even like a game. It's just an
I
activity.
was going to say that. I didn't want to be derogatory towards it, not call it a game because it's labeled as a game, but it just feels like a thing.
Yeah.
Like an activity.
Yeah.
So if you want to
it's definitely an abstract game, but it's definitely more of an activity. So Cluster is I don't have all the stats, but just look it up. KLUSTER.
And then you featured it on our Instagram as well.
Yeah, it's been on my Instagram nonstop because it keeps coming out. Everyone I know is like, hey, could we play that? Cluster is string and I think 24 magnet stones. So they're just tiny little stones. They're different shapes, but they're all basically rectangular in appearance somewhat, just a little more oblong. And the point of the game is to play all your stones inside the string to get rid of them first. Now, sounds easy enough, but these stones are magnetic and they are highly magnetic.
Yep, they're very sensitive.
Yeah, so as you're putting them in, like I go, then RP goes, and I go, and RP goes. And as that's happening, the area inside the string is getting filled up. And then if magnets attract and they cluster together, all the ones that cluster together, you have to pick up. And now you have that many to get rid of. And it gives a huge advantage to whoever's next because that could be a huge field in the string that's open.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of it. There's nothing else to it. You can put the stones sideways so they move a bit more.
Thankfully, they reached out on our Instagram and told us about some of these rules that we didn't know you could, do.
Yeah, so the rule set I love, it's just a comic book in the instructions of just how to play. It's just people playing.
The rules are great.
Yeah, and then but the Instagram, the owners, I'm assuming the creators reached out when I put up a video and they're like, hey, did you put the stones on their side? And I was like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. And then I was watching a video of them playing and they were like moving the string. So you can like somewhat pull on the string, but if you move the string too much, like it might move some and they cluster together. And then someone else was like using a magnet to like push the other, like the reverse polarity to move. And I'm like, that's wild. I was like, you're playing a risky game on that one.
Very cool though.
But cluster.
If you can pull it off, I've tried. Every
Yeah.
time I've tried, I end up with
they just snap together
full of magnets. Yeah, so it's fun.
Yeah, so Cluster, I just want to give a huge shout out to. It's a bit pricey for $25 because it's just essentially magnets and string. I'm assuming the shipping is why, because it's a heavier box because of all the magnets, but I highly recommend it. Cluster is a fantastic. My students love it. I teach kindergarten, so they're on the younger side, 5, 6, and
it's perfect.
They do great with it. It's a great dexterity game. My father-in-law, who hates whenever I bring games around and has zero interest, watched us playing it. He was like, this is more my speed. Let me get in on it. He was great at it because he just knows where to put them. Like it's not an overly complicated game.
My wife loved it. Your wife loved it.
Yep.
Her friend loved it.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone who plays this game that isn't fascinated by it. Now the longevity of it, it's like, you play a few games and then maybe eventually it's just like, all right, like what else do we do? But I mean, for what it is, I think it's a fantastic game.
I think both times we played like twice and we're like, all right, we're good.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just quick games. 10 minutes. Yeah, when I brought over my in-laws, there we go. When I brought over my in-laws, we just kept playing because people were jumping in and out because we were playing up to 4 players, so it's like whoever got knocked out, another person would jump in, and then so it kept the game going for a while. But yeah, Cluster, fantastic game. On top of Air, Land, and Sea, Animals, Critters at War.
Yeah,
2 fantastic games.
Both we recommend.
So now we are 15 minutes away from the Cmon Marvel United Multiverse Kickstarter ending. If you're tired of hearing about this Kickstarter, or you don't care, just log out now. It's fine. But this will probably be the last we talk about this Kickstarter for a while. We're just both really jonesing and a little disappointed.
Yeah. So it's the Marvel United Multiverse Kickstarter campaign. We were very excited when they announced it, and we made some predictions. We have only a little bit to go, but there's probably not going to be another reveal. Maybe a character, which the characters in the past 2 or 3 days have been pretty cool.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, and then the All In, which neither of us did, the Fing Fang Foom reveal. But the boxes, I haven't loved the boxes. We both thought Marvel Zombies, What If, baby.
So I think they messed us up with the multiverse tagline, because you and I were thinking multiverse stuff, and it's just been pretty generic. Besides the initial base box, everything else isn't really multiverse. So
the heroes have been kind of lame until the last couple of days. Once it started with, Ghost Rider, then went Man Thing, Stature, Werewolf by Night, Moon Girl, and Dino, which was awesome. The villains have all been the anti-heroes were decent. And I
think the anti-heroes are cool. I think except for like cool. Moonstone, I think they're all pretty cool.
Yeah. I would agree. And then the villains have been, I think, pretty good.
Fantastic. I think the villains have been the best part of this.
Yeah, the last 7 have made me consider getting my own and going all in, with Gore and the Mole Man and Lizard and Purple Man. But then the big thing obviously has been the decks. That's been the big thing this year.
Yeah.
For this Kickstarter. And then all the boxes have been kind of events and not necessarily multiverse at all. So we had, besides the first two, we had World War Hulk, we had War of the Kings, The Age of Apocalypse, Civil War, Secret Invasion, Annihilation, Maximum Carnage, and the Pet Companions, which 3 of those are pretty cool.
Yeah.
The Civil War I know it's not Kickstarter exclusive, but it was one that I didn't want to wait an additional year. So I had Bryan back that for me. But that is bringing a new aspect to the game where you can go hero on hero. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I looked more into it after you kind of talked about it, and it did seem cool, because there's even 2 different ways to play the PvP.
Yep.
Where I was like, all right, that's cool. It's not something I care about, because I kind of said one of my biggest draws to this game is the co-op and communication. So maybe us going against each other wouldn't be my favorite. Yeah. But it's a cool element for people that want it. And it comes with some really cool figures.
I think it's, as we've been playing more recently with the Thanos and then the Sinister Six, I'm enjoying more of the
change-ups.
Kind of the change-ups and thematic elements, and not necessarily just, we got to take this villain out. Which I think as the games have come out, they've gotten better and better. But the big one that you were excited about was the Maximum Carnage box, obviously, because of Morbius.
Yeah, obviously. It's Morbid time, baby. Now, get out of here. Yeah, so they introduced the Maximum Carnage set, which is, if you remember, for the 90s, was a big event. I think they actually came out with another Maximum Carnage event recently, which I didn't care about. But the biggest aspect for this is I have the Sinister Six box from the first campaign,
which you can also get now.
Yeah, you can get with this campaign more. if you go back in time and you have 10 minutes. But so the Sinister Six campaign was originally the Sinister Six. It was like Doc Ock, Mysterio, Sandman, blah, blah, and you fought them all together in a really cool campaign that RP actually just played with me on Friday, and we both were gushing over. I was like, this is a cool element. It's really cool. It mixes it up. It changes things. So what this box does, only through the Kickstarter, is it adds an element where you can mix and match the Sinister Six. So every villain that's been across all 3 of these Kickstarters, you can have in that Sinister Six wheel that goes in the middle of the table.
I think it's only the Spider-Man villains.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, did I not say that? Sorry.
You said every villain.
Every Spider-Man villain, yeah. So which is this one they added Scorpion, Chameleon. They just had Shocker, the Lizard.
It even has a thing for Spot for that.
Yeah, the Spot. I'm pretty sure.
That box coming out.
Yep.
Which the box comes out in a little bit with all the Spider-Verse box.
Yeah. So that was one where I was like, you know what? Like, I don't want the initial box, but I need these Kickstarter exclusive modules pieces that only come with that. But I'm fine. I'm fine with more Spider-Man villains.
Also the figures are cool looking.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe not your favorite villains.
It's weird Scorpion's in that box because he's not part of that storyline, but whatever, it's fine.
Yeah. I mean, at this point, you'll have basically every version of the Sinister Six, though, with all
of every Spider-Man villain, yeah.
Especially Lizard. That was cool, and I'm glad we're finally getting that.
Yeah. War of the Kings was fine.
Yeah, the Inhumans. It's one I considered for a while, just because of the sheer amount of figures you got for the price. Lockjaw, Black Bolt, Medusa are all very cool. But I ended up opting out of that. I don't need it. I know it's Kickstarter exclusive. I'm not a big Inhumans fan. But that was cool. Secret Invasion. There's a Secret Invasion box. I'm a big fan of that storyline. The show's coming out, but it's really just Skrulls versus Fury, Quake, Maria Hill, and Ronan. And
was that Maria Hill?
Yeah.
See, I didn't even know that. I thought that was the speedster chick from the show Shield.
Oh, no.
What was her, Yo-Yo or whatever?
I have no idea.
I think that was her name.
The box have been disappointing. And Annihilation, which is
Annihilation's the biggest whatever box. I know you're backing it because you're a Guardians fan.
Yeah, because these
are four heroes and one villain. Like, they couldn't even add anything to that.
Yeah, like this would have been a good one for them to add Cosmo to, or something, or they already released everybody else and kind of important to that.
Especially when you look at, I don't mean to keep cutting you off, but you look at the one above it, Age of Apocalypse, has like 6 figures in it for $35. This one has 5. I don't know. It's just weird. No, it was a very weird box.
It is a weird box. They could have done the Annihilation Conquest was a better storyline anyway. And that would have allowed them to do the original Guardians, which would have been cooler. But, these are part of the Guardians pack. So I was like, I would actually like this because, me being a huge Guardians fan.
Yeah. And Annihilus will be awesome to play against.
Yeah, I was going to say, and the sculpt of that is very cool. But other than that, only releasing 2 boxes from the previous set, Sinister Six and Fantastic Four. The unlocks every day have been fun kind of to watch, but I gotta say, and I am looking forward to these cards that you will be getting. I will not be paying any extra money. Like, the event cards looked very cool because, as we said, we've been getting into that a lot.
Yeah.
But a lot of this is and then the Pet Companions box, which is cool. They are a side character that you can attach to a hero that acts as like it's just like a helper, and it's very
extra
cool.
Support, yeah.
Cosmo, Throg, Gator, Loki, Red Wing, and then 2 other ones. But
it's Chewy? Is that Chewy or Goose?
Is it Goose?
Goose, I think his name's now, and then the shark thing from Deadpool.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the rest of
that was cool.
That was very cool. We were very excited for that. We thought it was going to be a box on its own, like an event box. But the rest of this Kickstarter has been kind of very whatever. Even like the Civil War box, very cool. Weird characters. You got Cap and Iron Man with new sculpts that look cool. But then, you got Wonder Man. You got Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop's awesome. Goliath is cool. He's a big figure. Hulkling and Iron Spider are cool. But, like, there's just some, I don't know. It's personally, Civil War, I don't think of these characters except Cap and Iron Man. Yellow Jacket, there's no villain in the box because they're all technically villains.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is a very whatever box for me, or Kickstarter for me. I liked it, considered fully backing it, but was hoping. The one thing I was really hoping for was an Eternals box. I felt like that would have been cool.
It's wild. Like, it's crazy because I've been looking at the comments, which I normally don't because it's just people begging for like stupid stuff. It's always like, give me Paste Pot Pete and like stupid characters that like you'll never see. But so many people are saying Eternals. Like, it has to be a licensing thing because that was one of the reasons they commented and said in like one of the streams they're not able to release some of the old Kickstarter boxes that were exclusive to the first 2 because of licensing. And I don't know what that means. Like, I don't know how
Uh,
you can release it and then a year later you can't
you walk
re-release it,
it
or
back, yeah.
why you can release this box but not that box. Like, I'm almost calling BS that
But
they're saving it for like the next Kickstarter.
it's possible. And again, if they do this again, I don't know what they would do.
There's
Maybe
a lot
we'll
of characters they have not touched.
yeah, but I barely knew half these characters. I mean, and that's bad on me. I know, I knew Kid Loki, like Wiccan. I knew like the Kid Avengers, Wong, or Young Avengers, sorry, Elsa Bloodstone. But yeah, I guess like the Eternals, the zombies.
Yeah, Marvel Zombies is wild too. That there's not one for that.
But like we were saying, maybe because of the
they already had their Marvel Zombies game.
Yeah, they kind of did their thing.
So what's your 3 favorite? We'll go 3 favorite heroes from this set if you're looking at them.
Man Thing, probably Moon Girl and Devil Dino. I think that is an awesome
sculpt.
Sculpt. And then
what are the first 3 you're gonna play with?
It's a good question. Maybe Quasar. I think he's awesome.
Oh, from your box.
From the Annihilation box.
Yeah.
Probably those 3. When we sit down and be able to play in a year, probably those 3 will be the ones I would want to play as. And versus Annihilus, the High Evolutionary, and Gore, probably. Gore,
I forgot about the anti-heroes. You could pick anti-heroes too as your heroes or villain.
Nah, Ursa Major. That would be it.
Yeah, Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur was amazing.
Galactus. Galactus is perfect.
Oh, well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah. And obviously, aside from the major, the original box, I like the characters in the multiverse box too. I think they're very cool. I would love to play as Captain Carter. So
Loki and all, yeah.
Like or even Jane Foster.
Yep, yeah. The Moon Dinosaur or Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur sculpt was fantastic. It's bigger than the other sculpts, which is fun. I think the Ghost Rider Johnny Blaze on his bike is really cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
And then I really like the Captain America Sam Wilson. Like, I think that's a really cool sculpt.
Oh, yeah, that is a very cool sculpt. I will say that I do think the best box is the main box. I think that is the best box of the set. Which
just going by figure wise?
Just kind of, figures, like people that are in it. The other things that we are getting these other boxes for are cool. But yeah, this is the only one that's
really what I'm kind of realizing? The Maximum Carnage box is all villains. Yeah. Except for Morbius.
Yeah, Morbius is the
I didn't realize that before. They're all villains.
Oh, and then the one character is like pink. I don't know
he's like a super villain.
Oh.
Like after you defeat the regular Carnage, that version comes out. Like he becomes like enraged.
That's pretty cool.
I think that's a new thing. Red Hulk, I'm excited for him as a hero or villain. I think that'll be cool.
I think the thing I'm most excited for is the Civil War. Like being able to play that.
Yeah, PvP
is going to be cool. We may end up hating it, but I think it's awesome.
You bought it, so that's fine.
Yeah. Most expensive box too. Kind of BS.
We still have another hour. I thought it ended at 8.
There's another hour left.
Oh, okay. Then we're definitely getting another unlock.
Well, I don't know.
Then I'm gonna filibuster for an hour so we can live reveal.
Yeah, right. There's about they need another 55K.
Yeah, they'll get it.
I don't know.
We'll get Shocker.
Slowly ticket. Yeah, but then that'll probably be it.
It's been going insane. I thought they would at least get 5 million. They're at 4,700,000 at the moment.
Yeah, 4.7.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm looking forward to playing it. It's opened our love for Marvel United again, which has been a lot of fun, and that's a game that I really love.
Yeah, which is funny because you were kind of alluding. This is a game that we get out solo.
Yep.
And then set it up and go, maybe not.
It's such a pain in the butt to set everything up, but we've been getting better. Better.
No, we definitely. I think in our first season, I think this was my top game. Unless I'm mistaken.
It was in our original recording.
Yeah.
And then I pointed out the Kickstarter stuff.
Yeah, I think it was, if I didn't have all the Kickstarter stuff, it wouldn't be my favorite.
Yeah.
But with all the Kickstarter stuff, this is probably one of my most played games.
Yeah.
with you and solo, like just because of this
Oh,
campaign.
This is a game that I've always said, bring it over. I'm jonesing to play it. Bring it over. Bring it. And then you'd bring like one box. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Well, the last couple times I brought my entire stack.
Yeah, we played 2
of 38 boxes, and we played 1 anyway.
That was wild, seeing all those boxes stacked up.
Yeah,
even with the couple that I have that you don't.
So you came over and you brought your 2 boxes.
The Spider-Man and Guardians box.
Yeah, and I had them all set up on my dining room table, and I took a picture. And then you left, and my wife was just like, did he leave some of his games here? And I was like, no, those are all mine. She's like, how many Marvel Uniteds are there? And I was like, oh, they're all just different versions. They're part of the same game. They're all expansions. She was like, how many did RP bring? I was like, 2. And she was like, and you have like 38? I was like, yeah. And I was like, I don't have them all, though. I was like, I didn't bag them all. She's like, there's more? Now, there's more coming.
You were very conservative on this run too.
I was. I think, well, like we said, I didn't care about most of those boxes, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy that I don't care about this, because
it's nicer
the
on
first
your
Marvel United, I went pretty deep. The X-Men one, there were some sets in that too where I was like, I don't care, I don't need it. And then this one, I went even more. Like, I don't need these characters. Yeah,
and there was some of it where I was just like I'm getting this because I'm going to be mad if I don't get it.
Yeah, and that's the FOMO. That's how they get you.
True. And, a friend of the show and us, Preston, is hooking me up with a good deal on a couple boxes as well.
Some of the older ones, which is... And he said he's not able to play it, which is a shame. But we also promised him anytime he hangs out, we'll be playing it, because the amount of money that I was spending on this game, we're going to be playing it for... years to come. My deathbed, I'll be like, Moon Dinosaur, go.
But I think that about does it. Allow us to adjourn, and Brian, go get your PlayStation so you can play Hogwarts.
I know you want to get off so you can play your Harry Potter game on your super nice PS5.
Yep, it's awesome.
It's waiting for you. You already played it?
I played it yesterday.
All right, we'll save it for next episode.
Yeah, for a couple hours, and I'm going to hop off here and actually hang out with my wife.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for listening, everybody. Be sure to rate, follow, subscribe, wherever you are, wherever you listen, Apple Podcasts. We got a really nice review on Facebook, actually. Some recommended on Facebook. I didn't know that was a thing, but thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Buy some merch, some magnet stickers, TeePublic, blah, blah, blah. TeePublic.
Links in the bio.
Or Redbubble. There you go. Link in the bio. But just thank you so much for listening and letting us ramble about Marvel United for the last couple of weeks.
Yep. We appreciate it. We love you all. Just as, celebrate Valentine's Day with anybody or us.
And with games.
Yep. And with games, and pop us in your ears.
Yep. All right. Bye, everybody. Love you.
Love you.
Love with a bite. Take things in stride. Sounds like good advice, but there's no one at my side, and time washes clean love's wounds unseen. Well, that's what someone told me, but I don't know what it means, 'cause I've done everything I know to try and make you mine, and I think I'm gonna love you for a long, long time. Caught in my fears, blinking back the tears. I can't say you hurt me when you never let me near, and think